Alright, the next section I'm going to do is section 5, the true or false. Number 28. When you have a polynomial with two terms, you might solve using dots. That's true. Remember, because if you have x squared minus another term squared, you have two terms. So this would be true. Number 29. The first step of factoring is always to check for GCF. True. You always want to try to simplify your polynomial as low as possible to not get big numbers. Number 30. When you have a polynomial with four terms, you should factor by grouping. That's kind of like these guys right here, like number 14 that we did earlier. See how you have four numbers? That's what they're talking about. And what did we do on number 14? We split it into groups. So that is true. They already split the middle for us, which is nice. Alright, here it says the greatest common factor is, okay, I'm just going to not look at that because I don't want it to trick me. I'm just going to try to calculate the greatest common factor without looking at it. So what do these guys have in common? 6 and 12 and 18, a 6 goes into it, so I'm going to factor out a 6. What about that x? Common x would be x squared, and common y would be just one y. Now, would I factor a negative? No. Do you see how this guy only has a negative? So I would not factor a negative in this case. So what is the answer? They said 2x squared y. Where's the part that they're wrong? The 2, so this is false. Alright, so number 32 says x minus 3 squared is a binomial square that results in this expression, x squared minus 9. Remember, you cannot distribute. You have to FOIL this. So I have x minus 3 times x minus 3. That's what x minus 3 squared means. So x times x is x squared when I FOIL. Outer, you get negative 3x. Inner, you get negative 3x. And then last, you get 3 times 3 is a positive 9. Smushing these middle guys, you get x squared minus 6x plus 9. So is that the same thing as what they gave us? I always solve before I even look at the answer, and that is not. So this is false. Alright, here they want to say, or they're asking, is this the same as this? I don't know. Let me solve it. So they want to expand it, so I'm going to FOIL again. So first, outer, inner, last. FOIL. So 2x times x is 2x squared. Outer, you get negative 3 times 2x, so you get negative 6x. Inner, you get negative x. And last, you get positive 3. So I'm going to smush these two guys in the middle together. 2x squared minus 7x plus 3. Is that the same? No, because look, the middle term, here it's plus, it's minus, and the last term, you see how this is negative and this is plus. So this is false. Alright, so I'm going to do letter B for number 34, letter B. It says, complete the square for each expression and write the resulting expression as a binomial squared. So I have x squared plus ax plus blank. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this middle number, right? Take this middle number, divide it by 2. So you get 4, and then I square it. So you get 16. So this blank is a 16. And then all they're asking, guys, is how do you factor this? Remember, because usually you add it to both sides for the blank, but they're just saying how do you factor it? And that's where you look at the little trick. I would write this as x plus 4 squared. So this is going to be a 16, x plus 4 squared. Let's look at 35. It says, change from standard form to vertex form, state the vertex, and solve. So let's do it here. This is 35b. I have x squared plus 3 equals 4x plus y. Alright, the first thing I tell my kiddos for complete the square is you always want it in standard form, or what I call stupid form. It's not graphing nice vertex form. It's stupid. You can't really tell. So standard, stupid, same thing. So I want it in standard form. Standard form is where you have ax squared plus bx plus c equals your y. That's what standard form looks like. Ax squared plus bx plus c equals y. So I basically need to get y by itself. So on this problem, I need to get y by itself. So I'm going to move everything over. So I got to move this 4 over. So I have x squared minus 4x plus 3 equals y. Alright, so completing the square, the first step I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the y, add my blanks, move your c over. First step. I moved my c over, I added my blanks. Step number 2. Take this middle number and you divide it by 2. Always take that middle number, whatever it is, take the sign, divide it by 2. So negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2. And the next part for completing the square is you always square whatever this is. So negative 2 squared is 4. This number I'm now going to write in my blanks. So I add 4 here. What I do to one side, you do to the other. Alright, so I need to factor this out. How do you factor this? Well, the quickest way to do it is you just kind of cheat and you can look whatever you squared. So this is going to be x minus 2 squared. This, if I was to FOIL this, I would get back this. It's always whatever you squared, x minus 2 squared. And now I'm going to simplify this part. What is 4 minus 3? 1, so that goes here. So now I can rewrite this in vertex form. So if I stick my y back there, I'm going to move everything to one side. I get x minus 2 squared minus 1. That's vertex form. So my vertex would be opposite of this. So opposite of negative 2 is 2, and then whatever this is, negative 1. That's your vertex. So that's the first part. Found my vertex form and then the vertex. But now they want us to, second part is to solve. So I'm going to go straight from here and solve. Remember, I want to get x by itself. So don't expand it. Don't FOIL. Just get x by itself. It's attached to this 2. So I need to get rid of this squared first. So how you do that is you take the square root. But what you do to one side, you have to do to the other. So you're going to get x minus 2 equals the square root of 1 is plus or minus 1. And then I'm going to add 2. So I get x equals positive 1 plus 2 gives me 3. So your first answer is 3. And then I have negative 1 plus 2. 2 minus 1 is 1. So your answer is x equals 3 and x equals 1. Those are my solutions. Okay, so now I'm going to skip to the last complete the square run. In this case is 35c. I have 2x squared plus 28x plus 26 equals y. The first thing I always want to do, guys, and this is the way I teach my kiddos, is I factor out the GCF. So what do they have in common? A 2. So I'm going to factor out a 2, and it's just going to chill for just a second. Alright, so what's left over? I have x squared. Alright, half of 28 is 14, and half of 26 is 13. So now this 2 is just going to chill for a second. What I want to do is complete the square here. So I get x squared plus 14x plus blank. And then I need to move this C to the other side, this 13 to the other side. But remember, it's not really 13. What is it? It's 13 times 2, which is 26. So it becomes a negative 26. It's a little tricky. Be careful. This is only when you have a number in front that it gets a little confusing. So 13 times 2 gives me 26. So since 26 is really on this left side, I got to put 26 back on the right side. So the 2's still chilling. I'm now going to complete the square for this factor bubble right here. So take the middle number, divide it by 2, I get 7. And then I square it. So 7 times 7 is 49. So I'm going to write 49 in my blanks. I would usually write 49 here, but remember, what did I really add to this left side? 49 times 2. So whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So 49 times 2 is 98. So this blank is going to be 98. Because I'm really adding 49 times 2 to this side, so I got to do it to this side. Alright, so now I need to factor this out. So my 2 is still chilling. This, to factor this polynomial, is going to be x plus 7 squared. Just looking here, what was the middle guy? X plus 7 squared. And then 98 minus 26 is 72. So here I'm going to get 72. So now I can write this in vertex form. My answer is y equals 2x plus 7 squared minus 72. This is my vertical stretch. So my vertex is going to be negative 7, negative 72, because it's opposite, because we're in horizontal land. That's my vertex. Now I'll have to solve. To solve, I'm going to use this equation right here to solve. So I'm going to rewrite it. 2x plus 7 squared equals 72. Remember, I don't want to expand. Now, like the last problem, I took the square root first, but I can't do that just yet, because what is in front of this parentheses? A 2. So I need to divide by 2 first. So I get x plus 7 squared equals 72 divided by 2 is 36. And so now what I'm going to do is take the square root of both sides. So x plus 7 equals plus or minus 6. And then subtract 7. So 6 minus 7 equals negative 1. And then negative 6 minus 7 gives me negative 13. So I get negative 1 and negative 13. Those are my two answers for my solutions.